Tony-nominated actor you know from films such as Pride and Prejudice and the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, as well as shows like The Night Manager and The White Lotus. He stars in the limited series Feud, Capote versus the Swans, which premieres with 2 episodes on January 31st on FX and streams the next day on Hulu. Let's take a look.
I know about you. I know about your car accident. Shattered your cheekbones? How when they rebuilt your face, you were suddenly more beautiful than ever. You became a swan from an ugly duckling, am I right?
How do you know about all that?
Well, my point is, the accident was a blessing. And now there's something else. You have a new best friend. Now let's have a cigarette.
Please welcome to the show, Tom Hollander, everyone. Can I tell you something I love, Tom? I love when the actor is unrecognizable from the clip. That's very exciting to me. It's a real transformation.
Yeah, it was. There were a lot of people involved in that transformation. A lot of restaurants.
A lot of restaurants, yeah. It was. I mean, I would imagine this is based on a book about later era Truman Capote and his friendship with socialites in New York City.
That's right.
That he called his swans. And this is a sort of darker period of Truman Capote's life. Did you know about this era of Truman Capote?
I knew that he was a terrible drunk and that Studio 54 but I also knew him as a writer. I had read his stuff when I was young. I didn't know how dark it went, and I didn't know about his close relationship with these fancy ladies and how he destroyed himself with them. He was kind of addicted to fancy people in the same way that he was addicted to booze. He felt these things could make him whole, but he also kind of despised it and despised himself, so he kind of blew it up and ended up. It's a dark tale.
Yeah. No, I should say it's a dark tale, but it is a fun character. I mean, character is the wrong word, but he's a fun person to play, right? I mean, it just must seem like the juiciest role.
Yeah, he's one of these people that leaves when they die, they leave endless opportunities for actors to come along and go, I'm giving my Truman Capote now. Yeah, he was a larger-than-life character, and he's an icon of American literature and society. And so I was very, very glad and lucky to be offered the part, and I loved every second of it.
He obviously has a very distinctive voice, speaking style. How do you approach it where it's not, you're embodying the man without doing what seems like or looks like an impression?
Well, you have to do a little bit of an impression.
Sure.
And then you have to allow yourself to go, well, I'm not exactly like Truman Capote. I don't look like Truman Capote, as you can see from the clip, but you're giving a performance where anyone watching it would go, well, that can only be Truman Capote. It's not, that's Truman Capote, it's, that's Truman Capote. So I was doing that. And Robbie Bates, who's the genius writer who wrote it, said, you don't have to be Truman Capote, we're playing Truman Capote the myth. And it's 8 episodes extravaganza, which is a sort of fantasia, some of it. It keeps going round and round in time. You see the same events presented in different ways. Each episode is wildly different tonally from the next episode. They really threw the kitchen sink at it. Is that the expression?
Yeah.
Do you have? Yeah.
Nailed it.
Some kitchen sinks and some more glamorous things than kitchen sinks. It was amazing.
I know you've worked in New York on Broadway. You've been here before, but you got to shoot this in New York and also, obviously, on sets that were New York from a bygone era. Did you like those styles, that fashion, the look of it?
Yes, the whole thing was like a sort of, because I feel, I'm a tourist when I come to America, and this was like historical tourism. I was seeing this world of the Upper East Side and these fancy houses in the Hamptons and the way they lived. And the sets are astonishing. The costumes by Lou Eyrick are astonishing. There was no expense spared, apparently, on this. And it was an education. And I was learning about him as well, and the way people felt about him. And the whole generation of people grew up watching him on television, being extraordinary and being extreme on TV and coming onto shows like this, but, you know, having been up for 2 days and being drunk and being wild and being bitchy. And so obviously I could watch all of that to research it. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, the great Philip Seymour Hoffman, who, you know, unfortunately got an Oscar for playing the role. So that was intimidating, but,
Yeah.
but I mean, not that he wasn't brilliant, obviously, but it, you know, oh, he got an Oscar. But but luckily, this is a very different story it's a different Truman Capote.
I'm surprised to hear the first time you have played an American.
It is, yeah.
Because most British people, I hope you know, play them all the time.
They only play Americans.
They're
I know.
constantly taking our
I know,
jobs. No, I don't want to get on my soapbox.
I know, but they do it for less. That's why it's just a basic.
Yeah.
They're just undercutting everyone. Yeah. No, I always wanted to play an American. Yeah, been desperate to play an American, and yeah, here I was doing it, and I loved it. I grew up watching the war movies where the Americans had much better uniforms. They just had cooler hats. They had cooler cars. They were just, and I still think Americans are quite cool. So I
Give us time.
I know that's wrong. I know I'm a fool, but I do. America's a wonderful, wonderful country. So I liked pretending to be part of it for a minute.
Yeah. It is funny when your first American role is Truman Capote, because I do feel like he's weirdly like, even though he's only could be American, it's not like he is quintessentially American.
No, I suppose not. Perhaps would you like to expand on that?
I guess I would like you to. I would also like to see you as like a flat Midwestern farmer in something.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
What
Like, that's the American I want to see Tom Holland.
Yeah, or a kind of docker somewhere, or a taxi driver.
Yeah. Do you want to do Taxi Driver real quick?
Robert De Niro and so?
No, just like just do your best
No,
American.
this guy. I like to play this guy.
Yeah, we all want that.
I want to do this.
We all want that. You were so wonderful in White Lotus, second season of White Lotus. I'm sure you hear it all the time.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you.
And the line, these gays are trying to murder me, even Jennifer Coolidge even said it in her acceptance speech at the Emmys.
Yes.
I feel like it's going to be part of, I don't know, it's going to be a quote for all time.
Yes.
Do people ever yell it at you?
Not at me, no.
Okay.
But they obviously yelled at her a lot. But they don't know. They're too scared.
Yeah.
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 There's a couple of lines that people come up with. That people quote. I had a line about potatoes in something about these excellent boiled potatoes in one thing. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
someone. I don't even remember saying. And a line about difficult, lemon difficult. Does anyone remember that one from In the Loop?
Oh, I know
Was
that.
it? Yeah.
I think
Anyway,
In the Loop
these
was
things-
maybe the first time I saw you. That was a fantastic film.
That was very well written. Yeah.
I have to ask you, I feel like it's almost the elephant in the room. There's an actor named Tom Holland.
Oh, yeah.
Do people ever make that error?
Yeah. Yes, it's been very difficult. Because, you know, I was here first.
Yeah.
But he's enormously famous. So it obviously I don't actually get mistaken for him, but in non-visual contexts, I am mistaken for him all the time. So like talking to utility companies, they just, and what's your name? And they go, Tom Holland, because they've heard Tom Holland, that Tom Holland's they go, no, it's Tom Holland, duh. Or I'm introduced to somebody's very, very excited, then confused, then disappointed children who they go, my children are so excited to meet you. And I go, are they, though? And then, okay, well, oh no, they really are. Okay, I don't think they are, but bring them out. And they come out and they go, where is he, where is he? And they go, no, no. And people in the accounts department of my agency got confused. And we were with the same agency, briefly. And, and it was a terrible moment. I went to see my friend who was doing theatre in England and for £300 a week, you know, and but doing great work, Chekhov. And I sat smugly in the audience, having just done a BBC show for 30 grand or something, which was, you know, going to get me through the next year or so. And I was thinking, well, this is marvellous. I'm very prosperous. But my good friend, Peter, is doing this great play, and I'm going to go afterwards and see him and slightly patronise him and say how wonderful it was. And then the interval came, and I thought I'd check my emails, and I got an email from the agency saying, payment advice slip, your first box office bonus for The Avengers. And I thought... I don't think I'm in The Avengers. And it was an astonishing amount of money. And it was not his salary, it was his first box office bonus. Not the whole box office, the first one. And it was more money than I've ever... It was a 7-figure sum. Yeah. And
they had to send it in two emails.
He was 20 or something. So my feeling of smugness that you remember I had in the first half disappeared very quickly. But that's showbiz. It's it's up, it's down, it's hero, it's zero.
You're always one email away from having your whole life turned upside down.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the show. Thank you so much for being here. What a delight. What a delight to talk to you. Tom Hollander, everyone. FX's Feud. Capote versus the Swan premieres on Wednesday, January 31st, and streams the next day on